you all like me to elaborate? So that on 636 is but the three realms are impermanent. So I go back to the initial verse. The celestial realm is subject to formation. We all understand that. So because of this, changing and impermanent, the workings of the mind are empty and illusory. Now, this is a very interesting line, and I think it's profound because, first of all, we need to understand so-called the mind that we have. The mind we have is like, if you like, it's like an avatar of our true nature. So therefore, but it is not us. So which is not truly us. So because it's not truly us, because it's empty and illusory. If I can, I'll kind of a bit more about that. So because of this, obviously it has to, when it arises, because it's not truly us, therefore it's only have a limited lifespan. So it will arise and it will cease. And that's the end of so-called the mind of this life. So therefore you relate back to what Master has shared of the previous lives of the Buddha, from the never-sliding Bodhisattva and all the different types of Bodhisattva that he told, and try to reflect on that. If it is indeed the true suchness, why is it that the characteristics are different? And if you understand that, then you understand what I mean by so-called the avatar of the true suchness, they call the avatar mind. Obviously, I'm using the word avatar, but that is avatar is obviously, it can also be being spiritually very highly developed. In this world of noble and enlightened beings, the mind creates both disasters and blessings. So therefore, everything is about the mind. And obviously, because this world is changing all the time, even forget about the life, but even the world, as the Buddha have explained, and their kalpas. So Master explained here that this long periods that this world is described as a kalpa. And it takes 20 small kalpas equal to 1 medium kalpa, 4 million kalpas equal to 1 great kalpa. So Brother Zhou Huang has actually in one study sharing explained how long is a kalpa. And the 1 great kalpa, if I remember correctly, is more than 1.3 billion years. But then I also understand in another calculation, to get into 1 small kalpa, they are so-called regular kalpas, and that 1,000 regular kalpas make it into 1 small kalpa. So that concept, or rather that understanding, is 1.3 over billion years to go to 1 great kalpa. But important to understand that the kalpa we are in now, the different types of kalpa, but kalpa we are in right now, the 5 Buddhas, and Sakyamuni Buddha is the 4th. That's why you will hear sometimes from other teachings that there's 1 more Buddha to come. And obviously we on been taught that it's Maitreya Buddha in this particular kalpa. So nothing remains forever. And so therefore, what about our minds? Even the world cannot remain forever. So what about minds? So therefore it's empty and illusory, as I mentioned in the initial words. So therefore, if we can stabilize our minds and focus on what we should be supposed to be doing in this life, then we can correct ourselves. So in correcting ourselves, therefore, we take certain traits in this life. This is what I mean by we are born in this mind with a certain tendencies, and those tendencies will manifest because when condition arise, then we'll cultivate as much as we can. But even if we try to cultivate, and there are 2 parts to that. One is to get rid of our unwholesomeness. The other one is perfect our wholesomeness. So you can imagine now there are 2 sides of the equation that we need to be practicing. One is to get rid of evil, one is to cultivate good. And to do this thing, because we are facing various conditions, so we have to get into this flawless state of practice, which is to uphold the precepts of samadhi, and wisdom to prevent any leaks. And so all this part that we cultivate, and obviously a lot of people have, they do have worldly ambitions, but despite what they have, they are never satisfied, so they want more and more, because despite what one has, they don't find any satisfaction. So therefore they want more and more to fill that void in them. But for us in the Burman practice, we fill that void with spirituality. And that is why we define the purpose of our life. But the state of the mind that we have, and because it's rising and changing all the time, and because it's rising and changing all the time, eventually it will cease at the end of our life. And when we take a rebirth, our new mind, our new sixth consciousness will arise. And that set of, obviously, mind that we have at that time, but it could be under different conditions. But that's the reason why when we get into practice, we have to go beyond our sixth consciousness so that we can elevate our consciousness and cultivate to the level that we go into the mind continuing, so that practice that we have can be continued into the next life. But whether, I must have mentioned that whether we're practitioners, lay practitioner, monastics, we're all unenlightened beings. Obviously, they are amongst those who walk amongst us. There are actually enlightened beings around the people who are cultivated highly. And this is also the reason why we got to be very mindful of our speech when we comment on anybody, whether they're lay persons or lay practitioners or purely just monastics. Because when words spoken loosely on someone who is enlightened have very big rebounds upon our speech. Obviously, there are many stories behind all these things, and even during the time of the Buddha, Jatakhata tales, a very good example, if you remember the story of the courtesan, and that was exactly what happened to her loose speech. So noble beings already have a deep understanding, and noble beings refer to enlightened beings, and for them, when for them, all things are impermanent and changing. That means they already understand the law of nature. They all purifies the cause and effects. So when they return to serve in the samsaric world, they are no longer afflicted or influenced by the defilements of the worldly winds, as well as the other beings whom they serve. So therefore, Master mentioned like Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, Siddhikapa Bodhisattva, Manjushri, and Maitreya. All the other bodhisattvas all return to the ship of compassion to serve in this world, to help Sakyamuni Buddha's Dhamma assembly, and during the time of Sakyamuni Buddha. Obviously, if you visit all the Mahayana temples, you'll find that you have all these images amongst all other bodhisattvas, as well as other enlightened beings, as well as other deities in different forms. So sentient beings have so much karma, and yet it is entirely inseparable from the existing extensive desires. And yes, because we are in this desire realm, so therefore we have this in our life for us to let go, to learn about emptiness, so that we can cultivate and let go all our attachment and our cravings. And that's exactly what the traveling or cyclic existence is, isn't it? Because when we have this karma that we have in this life, that we have the six organs, and for six organs we get into contact with the external condition, feelings arises, and then we create new causes in this lifetime. So the lessons learned, and whether we are animals, or humans, animals, or ghosts in our minds, is all the state of mind that we have, and that someone that causes us great disturbances to us. So I'm sure you also come across with people, even fellow practitioners, I know that some of them are very, very scared of any so-called spiritual beings or beings that they cannot see. Obviously, they are all around us, and Master used to say that 3 inches above us, they are being floating on top of us. So this is an analogy of the afflictions that we have. And this is like our own self-suffering or self-immolation, self-burning of myself. And we are still in a burning. How self-immolation is, we're burning our own body and our own mind. So in summary, the sutra describes numerous afflictions. The afflictions do not just arise in the desire realm, but also in the form realm, and also the form realm through the thoughts of our mind. And therefore it's full of afflictions. But so we need to put an end to our desires and then take the next step forward. That means we are putting into practice what we understand from the traveling of cyclic existence to break the chain of that cyclic existence. We should also put an end to affliction in the formless realm, and we not cling to those afflictions and become attached to self awakening. And self-awakening is all about self-desire of how things we want to be. So we start to thinking, then the world has nothing to do with me. So we also become deviated as a result. So to walk the bodhisattva path, this life is everything's about to do with me, and for us to not only cultivate for ourselves, but for the benefit of others. So we must not let this external condition affect us. Again, back to the half links again, isn't it? So before that can arise, if they do not affect us, then feeling doesn't arise. It doesn't rouse your desire, doesn't rouse your emotion. So in contemplation, so the universe you see is made up of your mind. And this is what about the phenomena of the mind. And you see that we can see the same object, we can see the same phenomena, and we got multitude of what we see because depending on the state of our mind. Anything that you send out will always bounce back, as I just mentioned earlier, because even the speech that we say, the action that we do, and we understand this. So nothing gets destroyed or created on its own. And it's all what that means the phenomena is without self. So if phenomena is without self, it cannot create. There's no self. How can it happen the way it does? So it's therefore it must arise from the creation of our own mind. Therefore, understand your desire emotion that you create and how harmful that may be. And then only then we are able to correct ourselves and let go. So on relationship, so do not resent in what is happening. I may have shared with you all before some time back on this one, but it's relevant to this context. So those who have come to our life to make our life difficult did so with good reason. Everything happens to us as a reason. It cannot just happen the way it does. We're calling the thing called accident, right? Like accident arises from the manifestation of the right condition. So i.e. to heal the past and to enable you to learn from the present so that we make progress in the future. And that's where we purify and cleanse our karma from the past. So they are your spiritual benefactors, whoever they may be, or they are the ones who uncover the inner desire, the emotion hidden in the abyss of pretense. The abyss of pretense is what we want to see ourselves. So that was a state of denial of what it is. So therefore, we learn the Dharma, and we will realize a state of self-realization for us to correct. All right, so I won't touch on 637 since I shared 2 days ago.
Yeah, Gan En so much, BrotherChin, for another marvelous round of